The video will begin in a few moments. All those unseated will await the next show. Is everybody in? Is everybody in? Is everybody in? The video is about to begin.
Well, I'm going to do something now that I've been meaning to do for a while. I've had the software to do this, but now with the green screen, it'll be a little bit cooler. Now, what I'm going to do is, I guess we'll call these virtual tours or something. This will be the first one that I do, and today I'm only going to focus on Cebu to give you an idea, because a lot of people fly into Cebu and they've got the 3D maps all ready to go on Google. So we'll look at Cebu today. Maybe in other videos I'll show you places that I've been and I can narrate like I'm going to do here. And I'll show you Bohol, Moalboal, Panglao, Dumaguete, different places that I've actually been. And we'll do it through the virtual tour on Google.
I'm going to use the scroll wheel on my mouse to kind of move in here. And as I do, you can see that the names start to show up. And of course, we're interested in the Philippines. Now, I may do other videos like this later on other places that I've been. Today, we're going to focus on the Philippines. Now, I'm going to also use the control button along with the left mouse button, and that will allow me to rotate the map in different ways. And again, it's pretty straightforward. It's pretty much the left mouse button and the what do you call it? The control button. So I'm going to go ahead and flip this upright I got north up here to the top. I believe you can use this, to get it exactly, north, south, east, and west, and all that. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to zoom in. I know that here's Negros, which is, I'm going to put this in here. Currently, I'm in Dumaguete, but what I want to do is I want to check out Cebu. Now, you can just zoom in, or you can go ahead and click right on it. It'll give you a search button, and you could type in, for instance, Cebu, SM Mall, any place in particular that you're looking for, which we'll do that in a second. But I'm going to go ahead and just zoom in using the mouse wheel. If you don't have a mouse wheel, you can simply hit the plus button on your computer, and it'll jump in like that. The mouse wheel is a little bit more smooth. Now, when I checked out, Google Maps, again back in late 2011, I came here in 2012. The place that I knew I was going to move to was Mactan. And as you can see, here is Cebu. The whole thing is Cebu Island, and then right here is Cebu City. And I knew that I was going to be living here on Mactan. So since Mactan is a pretty small place, I mean, we're talking about somewhere around 10 miles by 20 miles. It's pretty small. To give you an idea of the scale, this is the airport right here. And the airport is like almost half the length of the entire island. Just in case you're curious, this area over here, this is the northeast corner of the island. Over here is where you're going to find all the nicer resorts, right over here in the Maribago area. Now, of course, here is the airport. There's some cool stuff like Newtown now I believe it's right over here. And I'll show you something a little bit, kind of trivia thing. Now, there are two bridges, if you notice, that connect Mactan to Cebu Island. And this is the North Bridge, the South Bridge, at least that's what we called them, or they called this the New Bridge, the Old Bridge. But basically, you can get over to Cebu Island using those two bridges. Now, when I first came to Mactan, I was looking at this whole area, and I wanted to know as much as I could about how to get around and all that. So I'll take you over here. Where is it? We'll just kind of zoom in a little bit. Now, right here, for those of you who have been to Mactan, you may recognize the Gaisano Mall. Okay, and there we go. Now, the cool thing about this whole Google thing is you can, for instance, you can rotate it around. You know, look at the mall in 3D. You know, get an idea of what the streets look like. Again, looking down the street, you can actually see the trees, and every once in a while you'll see people. Their faces will be blurred out. But here's another cool thing you can do is see this little yellow guy down here? Okay, you can click on him, bring him to one of the streets, see that little green arrow? And you can let go of the mouse button and put that little green dot right in front of a place, like for instance, the mall. Let it go right down to the street level. See there? And there's our little yellow guy that tells you on the map. And again, you can actually see what the Google van saw when it went down this road. There's the mall right there. And you come outside the mall, there's the door right there. And you can even zoom in. Okay. You can zoom in. There you see somebody going into the mall. When you come out of the mall, you go down the steps. And then right here in this little queue is where you would get a taxi or a tricycle. And you can, again, just using the mouse button, you can take a look across the street. Again, this is all exactly, and I saw all of this before I ever even left the United States. I hadn't even been to the Philippines yet, and I was able to use Google Maps in order to kind of familiarize myself with where I was going to be. Now, if you notice, if you're on a road, especially when you move the mouse around, you see this little arrow. Well, I know that the street goes up here, so you can do one of two things. You can hold down the cursor button, on the keyboard, or you can just double click on it. Put the little marker, the arrow, put it further up the road and double click. Okay, I just double clicked, and it'll zoom you to that portion of the street. Okay. Now here's a little piece of trivia. I've only gone now maybe 2-3 blocks from the mall, and right over here, let's see, we'll click up a little bit more. And right over here, right up this little road, is the very first apartment that I had. Now I'm going to zoom out for a second. Okay, there we are, zooming out. And to give you an idea how close I was to the mall, here's the mall. I used to walk just a couple blocks there. And then right up here was the entryway there was a gate right here. Coming up here, I would just go across this little deal, and that right there, that blue structure, is my very first apartment that I had when I first moved to the Philippines. So those of you who saw my video with the studio, the first one that I had, this is where it was. Those of you who saw me going up and down on that little tiny scooter that I bought with, riding back and forth there with Christine, that was right here on this little stretch of driveway. So it's kind of neat. You can, again, I was able to know the neighborhood, prior to coming here, because I already had the place reserved, before I got here. So now let's go ahead and zoom out, get past Mactan. Okay, and I'm going to just kind of zoom out here. All right. If you want to get over to Cebu, you would just simply take that road, you go up, and you would cross over the bridge. Now, to give you an idea of how much distance we're looking at, when you land in Cebu, here's the airport and here's the terminal. You can get a taxi here from the airport, which will take you on there and can get you over here to downtown Cebu in for like 120 pesos. We're talking like less than $2.50. You can get over here. Now, the other thing you can do is you can go here in Mactan to the pier, and I believe the pier is, yeah, right there. Oh no, that's the what do you call it? The refinery. The pier is somewhere else over here. Yeah. I spent a lot of my time when I was in Mactan right here in this area. This is like where the big Mercado is and all that stuff. If there's anything going on, usually I found it going on over there. But what you can do is you can catch the ferry, and you see this little blue line? That tells you where the ferry goes. Now, that ferry, if you didn't want to take a taxi, you could take the ferry and it would bring you up over here. And this is Pier 1. Now, actually, this is Pier 1. And if you're going to go to Bohol, this is where you would catch the ferry. And then from here, it would then just take you off to Bohol, and then you can get to Dumaguete. But basically, you could, let me see, where is it? We got, actually, that was Pier 3. Looks like, yeah, here's Pier 1. Pier 1 is right next to this little blue building. So, yeah, you can catch, actually, all of these piers go to different locations. Some will go north and some go south. So, anyways, Pier 1 is the one everybody uses to go to Bohol. Now, some of my videos, you may, I don't know if you remember, but I did videos where I came out of the pier and I walked up the street and I mentioned just forget about the taxis that are right here and right here, especially right in this corner. The taxis don't want to use the meter or anything. So, what I do is I leave the pier from here, I go just straight up the street, and you will see Fort Pedro here on the left, but you just go to where it dead ends right there. And then you've got the double A barbecue. I'll usually go to the barbecue there, get something to eat, just kind of cool off and get, from my trip. And then I'll catch a taxi like right here or right here. And and then it's no problem. They'll use the meter. But if you try to use the ones near the ferry, they just won't do it. So that's what I do. I just walk the 3 blocks up here and I get a taxi here. You can cross the street, stand here by the park and get one here, but I usually just get one here. And it's never been a problem. Now, you can also walk if you feel like walking. You can go this way. I've done it plenty of times. I don't do it so much anymore now, either because it's hot or because you don't want to be walking down there at night. Um, and then once you come up here a couple of blocks, you've got some universities, you've got a couple malls, there's different things. I'll show you the little fort that's here. This is Fort San Pedro, and as you can see, it's been around a long time. It's been around, I don't know, maybe 100 years or so, but it's very fortified. I'm sure there's a whole history behind it. I've read the plaque before, but I didn't memorize it. But yeah, it's kind of cool. It's like maybe 30 pesos to go in and take the tour, and you can walk all along the top of the wall here. It's pretty cool. It's something to check out. So I'm going to use this little button to set me back at north. So north is facing up. I'm going to zoom out. Okay. And we're going to take a look over this way. Oh, the Hippodromo. I remember once I got off of Jeepney like 1 o'clock in the morning. I got lost out here in the middle of the night. I was really lost. I was trying to get back to Mactan. Now, over here, you'll see Cebu IT Park. Okay, that's a very popular spot. And let me see, we'll go ahead and zoom in there. Cebu IT Park, again, really popular. It's a little bit expensive, a bit more higher rents than you're going to get, at most of the other places. But again, it's a very nice place. Also, here is the Waterfront Hotel right there. Okay, and now the Waterfront Hotel, aside from being a nice place to stay, in fact, I think Ned did a video here not too long ago. This is also where you can go, and right here down at the bottom, on the ground floor, I think it's on this side or this side. I can't remember. It's been a while, but that's where you can find the American consulate, not the American embassy, but the American consulate. It's here at the Waterfront Hotel. They've got a little room, and just ask at the lobby and they'll show you where it's at. But it's an outdoor access, and it's down here on the ground floor. Okay. And again, what we're looking at here is downtown Cebu. Now over here, let's see. Over here is one of the condo places, Calix Center. I've been here, and that's pretty neat. They got a swimming pool right up there on the top, and again, really great view. And let's see, there's a couple of other condos out here, lots of them. Now, close to Cebu is also Ayala Mall, so we can type in Ayala Mall, Cebu, and that's road. Okay, so that would be there. Okay, and then we can ask directions. Actually, I'm trying to remember how I did this before, but it can take you to the mall. Now, I happen to know that from IT Park, it's just right over here. Okay, so here's Ayala Mall, kind of circular. Give you an idea of the height of it and all that. There it is, and you can kind of use the just the left and right cursor key, and that'll give you a sort of like a 360 view of the area. And I can even zoom down a little bit closer, and we'll do that in a second. But Ayala Mall, again, it's very popular. It's one of the one of the cool places to hang out and meet people, and they got tons and tons and tons of places to eat and all the stuff you would usually find at the mall. One of the things I really like about Ayala Mall is this whole courtyard area. Um, these are outdoor patios that you can walk around on, and they connect to the side of the building. There's shops, there's Shakey's. I think Shakey's is right over here. There's TGI Fridays. There's a lot of really cool stuff here, and then there's a whole bunch of really cool restaurants over here. They do big events here sometimes, little concerts and things. These are waterfalls. Great place to take pictures and hang out. It's a nice park type atmosphere. And then you just walk right in and you're right back inside the mall, and and all that. Now the Starbucks over here, when you come in, chances are you'll probably end up parking here, or your jeepney or taxi will drop you off here. They also drop off at a lot of other places, but your chances are you'll end up passing this Starbucks at some point. It's kind of like one of the main entryways. There's an escalator there, and then this leads you right into the mall. So there's that. Now, I'll show you also, there's a building. Get that building out of the way. And another cool thing is you can get down to, I guess you could call it a lower elevation. And I'll show you something kind of neat. And this I used to have fun with, just really playing around and goofing around. You could start out, say, for instance, here, and then just hold the forward cursor key, and it'll take you like on a flying trip right through the city, and you can get a good idea of the geography. Like, for instance, here you're getting a pretty good idea of how close the mall is to the water. Okay? And what you're seeing there in the distance just across the water is Mactan. Okay, now here's another cool thing. We'll go ahead and we'll turn this direction, looking back at Cebu City. Now you see those hills there in the background? Okay, by holding down the front cursor key, again, you can just get to them. And I'll go ahead and zoom in kind of close. I'm just double clicking. Now here's kind of the neat thing is that, let me see, I'll go ahead and turn it, is that, zoom out a little bit, is you would never know unless you actually drove up here, because all of this is satellite generated. You would never know what was up in these hills. I have found lakes at the top of these hills that probably very few people have ever been to. There's like no road up there. I'm sure people have probably hiked up there, but actually, a friend of mine, well, not friend of mine, ex-girlfriend, she actually helped start this subdivision up here. She owns like 3 houses up there. But by holding down the cursor key, you can kind of go into like Superman mode, and you can just, just fly around. Just fly around, and actually, I think that's her house there. And you can see what's out here, just in the wilderness, and you just keep going, and again it'll take you, and if it runs into a hill, it'll elevate, it'll go up, uh, or through, so you can just keep on moving forward. Okay. And like, see, all of this stuff, I've never gone up here physically. I have been up to the Taoist temple, but there's just all these things up here that you can check out, which to me I find it fascinating. It's almost like hang gliding or something. And you can see all this stuff out in the hills that probably you'd never see otherwise. So I'm going to go ahead and zoom out, and we will rotate. Let's see here. We'll go ahead and rotate, yeah, this way. And again, it's just kind of neat. I just find the whole, topography, geography of the whole thing kind of fascinating. You got all these hills, and of course, it's down here along the shoreline where they decided to build the city. Now, I'm going to go ahead and go back to true north with that little button. I'm going to zoom out. So here we have Mactan, here we have Cebu. A lot of people have asked me, well, they didn't want to be on Mactan and deal with the traffic getting across these bridges, because after about 4 o'clock, it does get kind of congested because everybody's going in and out. And, 5 o'clock to 8 o'clock, traffic here is pretty bad. So if you're on Mactan and you want to get over to Cebu, do it before 4 o'clock. Now, a lot of people have asked me, they said, well, I don't want to live in downtown Cebu. This southern area is kind of sketchy, actually. It's not really as nice as the other areas. Oh, by the way, there's Temple of Leia, which that's a fairly new type of place. Up here is also the Taoist temple that I mentioned. Now, a place that you can check out, 2 places really, is one is Mandawi, okay, which is, as you can see, here's downtown Cebu. Mandawi is not that far. We're talking about maybe not even 10 minutes. You could consider that. It's not in downtown, or you can go up this road, and you're basically at the Consolacion area. Let me see. Should say, yeah, Consolacion goes all this whole area right here. Now this is you can look around right here on this road, going off into these little places, plenty of places to rent, and it's a lot less urban than downtown Cebu. So people who ask me, well, how can I be near Cebu without dealing with the downtown, craziness? I often suggest Consolacion, which is here, and a couple of good reasons. As you can see from Consolacion, you can easily catch this bridge and go to the resorts, and you can get day use pass, and you can go swimming there. Or you can just go, again, like from a taxi. A taxi from here to downtown Cebu is about 120 pesos, and it'll take you like 20 minutes, depending on traffic. The other nice thing about Consolacion area is that if you come up here near Liloan, again, just on the main highway, then there's all these neat little resorts, and they're all up along this highway. Okay, this coastal highway goes all the way to the top of the island, and I've driven it several times, and there are just the coolest little mom and pop resorts. I mean, I've found resorts that were like 19 bucks a night, and they're all along the coast here. So if you're living in Consolacion, even though it's not heavy city, and they do have their own mall. In fact, they have an immigration center there, all that stuff. with just a 10-minute ride, you can come up the highway and you can check out a lot of these little, just like I said, there's some big resorts, but a lot of them are little like mom and pop type resorts. Let me see if I can turn this way. There we go. And zoom in a little bit. Yeah. So there's the highway that goes north. And if you keep on going on this highway, it'll take you directly to Bogu at the top of Cebu Island. And, and there's just, again, it's a wonderful drive. Takes maybe, I think it took us about 2 hours maybe, but we weren't in any big hurry. Like, see, here's one right here, Sun Resort. There you go. So you can kind of see, check it out. But lots of them, lots and lots and lots and lots of them. Okay. So I hope that gives you a better idea of how much you can learn about an area. Now this is just Cebu that we just looked at. You can check out any island. You can check out Dumaguete, all of that. So I hope that gives you an idea of just how much you can just really kind of pre-scout. I guess that's what I would call it. Just sort of scouting out the land, getting an idea of what's what. Everything from parks to resorts to malls, any of this stuff. You can always scout it all out ahead of time. There we go. There's the Metro supermarket. So anyways, hope you enjoyed that, and I will probably do a tour of Dumaguete next time around and some of the other places that I've been to. Again, we'll just kind of zoom out here, and but for now, there you go. There is Cebu and Mactan right there.
So as you can see now, it's just really a wealth of information that you can get checking out places. You can see, you can literally get through the Google camera that goes down the streets. You can actually see the streets and everything. So I found it really useful. Again, it was nice to be able to just land in a place I hadn't been before. For instance, I've already checked out major areas of Vietnam, just kind of where Google Maps has already gone, and just sort of looked around at the overhead maps. So hope you found this useful and helpful. Again, I love it. I love it. I can literally blow 2 hours just gliding around, Superman mode, just flying around an area that I plan to go to. And that way, when I get there, I've got a mental map of what to expect. All right, so we'll check out another place next time. Again, I'll show you a place that I've been to, and I can narrate that for you. All right, till then, see you later. Bye-bye.